Good morning and welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 25th of February. So looking at the euro dollar first, and well, yesterday I was looking at this intraday and early-ish morning, and I did wonder if we'd see some sort of reversal. Everything else was selling off quite a bit, and well, the euro hadn't been at that time, and it looks okay. So the question is really, can it make it back towards its daily 21 or somewhere in that region? It's struggling where it is at the moment. It keeps on running into some resistance around this 0863 sort of zone. Maybe if it can push up through this morning into the weekly R1, it will be on its way. It's just struggling to move either way at this moment, a bit range bound, but so long as it's up here, it's consolidating and could push on further. So where to? Well, it's from where it's sitting at this moment here, it's not the easiest trade or position to be in. Anything to the downside would look at a break of the lows, but you could just end up with it bouncing off the pivot. So effectively, if I was looking at the downside, I'd be looking at a break of that 60.50. To the upside, well, I think it's probably already gone. Difficult one to try and jump aboard, really. You may get into something on the shorter time frames if you were looking to get into the upside, but at the moment it's not particularly clear. Maybe there's a trend sitting across the high there, and a break of that will see it push on further, but not an easy one to get into if you wanted to be long. The pound yesterday, well, it ended up on a bit of a negative day there. All that, as I said, a lot of these currencies were rolling back, whereas the euro was holding still, but it wasn't a majorly down day, but it's still in this longer lower high low trend. Sorry, I'll go back to that daily. It's still in this longer term trend here, which is sort of seems to be struggling at this stage. If it can start breaking through, get back above this weekly pivot, which it's ran back into at the moment, then it could be deemed as being a bit more bullish. Short term, it's got these higher lows, higher highs in this price action, and we will see. It may be setting up for further upside. It's already through a daily pivot, so again, difficult to try and jump on board at the moment, but retracements might bring opportunities for further upside. Some of these markets not particularly clean or clear, and when they're like that, sometimes it's just best to avoid them a little bit or wait and be patient. Dollar yen, it's put a solid down day in yesterday there. I'm still in the long term, considering the softness of the yen, but whilst it's doing this, can't fight against it. We've got risk going back in now. Risk had sort of removed itself from the yen for a little while, but it seems like it's back there playing its part, and it's seen as a safety currency. So on that basis, it becomes particularly difficult to trade. It can be completely inverted in terms of we'll see it weakening when everything else is getting stronger, just purely as people are moving the money out of the safety. So it's a difficult one to be playing. For the upside, I would be looking at maybe a break of the across these highs here, but it is really the risk is it may just run into something like the 60.50 and roll again with anything that's with this uncertainty out there. So difficult one to trade at the moment for sure. Okay, it's yen, Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar managed to get 2 days in a row, 2 positive days in a row. Looking at the weekly pivot potentially at this rate, but it's so slow, and it's against the trend there. A lot of these currencies, the euro, the Aussie, most of them are looking sentiment from a bigger term. We did this sentiment analysis yesterday in our trading room, and when I was running through it, a lot of these currencies are still very much on the back foot against the US dollar, but The Aussie at the moment, again, high lows, high highs on this shorter term frame here, and maybe it's got further upside already through the daily pivot. Maybe it'll pitch up a bit further, but I mean, it's becoming easier to put a trend line across the lows there and say, well, actually, I'll sell on the break of the trend line. But to be fair, it's I mean, when you go back, it's at multiple year lows at the moment, so very, very soft pairing there. Best avoided on the long side, preferably, but it may start going. Canadian dollar yesterday actually gave up, whereas everything else is doing half decent. It gave back some there yesterday and left the gap there. Didn't really recover much at all. It had a short recovery, but has mainly given back any gains. I was looking yesterday. I mean, it had broken through this near-term resistance area, but it's a slow old plod with the Canadian dollar at the moment, and with this sort of excessive, I say excessive, but almost excessive dollar strength, things could come to a bit of a standstill. We may see the Canadian dollar gain a little bit, but at some point, but it's what point? And at the moment, I'm still thinking, well, may still have some upside. It's got the bull flag that's running on this daily side of things. Maybe it's still got that upside, and will at least push back up towards the R1 up there with the prior highs, maybe more. Okay, news-wise today, very little. We've got US consumer confidence coming out at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and the Richmond manufacturing data at 3 o'clock. So really nothing to move these aside of the normal everyday hustle and bustle of news. And of course the technicals. Have a great one. Bye for now.